Some fights don't start with punches. They start with pride. Jason Statham had not gone to any big fighting shows in many, many years. He liked to stay quiet, away from crowds. But one very exciting night in Seoul, South Korea, something strange happened. A young karate champion named Han stood in the ring. He held a microphone and said Statham's name. But he didn't say it nicely. He said it with a smirk, a little smile that meant he was trying to be funny, or maybe mean. That should have been the end of it. But for Statham, that smirk reminded him of something. It reminded him of the young man he used to be. It also reminded him of what could happen if this new kid didn't get stopped. Before we jump into the rest of this story, tell us where you're watching from. And if you feel this story like we do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Some fights don't start with punches. They start with pride. The big fight arena in Seoul was glowing with bright lights. It looked shiny and magical under 1,000 little lights. People were full of energy. They leaned forward in their seats. They were waiting, excited, to see something amazing. Han, the karate champion, stood in the ring. He had never lost a fight. He had knocked out 15 people already. His face was proud. He looked like he was made of stone. He smiled like he knew he was the best. Jin jumped around the ring like a big cat, ready to pounce. His skin was shiny with sweat. The cameras took many pictures of him from every side. He had just kicked another fighter with a spinning move, a kick that looked like it came from a movie. The man fell down. Jin raised his arms. He grinned wide. The crowd cheered loudly. The big screen showed the kick again and again in slow motion. Everyone saw how fast he was. 15 wins. 15 knockouts. Jin was fast. He made old karate look boring. He was the new star. An amazing fight from Han, said the announcer, Shun Takeda. His voice was loud and clear, but you could hear that he wasn't too happy. Some might say, he needs a little more humility, Shun added. Humility means being kind, even when you're the best. Jin didn't care. He grabbed the microphone from the ring helper. He didn't ask first. He just took it. Humility, he laughed. That doesn't win fights. He spun in a circle so the whole crowd could see him. Power wins. Speed wins. And if I'm too fast for all these guys, maybe I need to stop fighting people my own age. The crowd made a noise. Some cheered, some were confused. Maybe, Jin said, I need to fight a legend. He looked at the front row. He stared at the special guests sitting in the VIP seats. These were old fighters. Men wearing old-style karate clothes. They were calm. They didn't smile. One of them was Master Daesung, Jin's old teacher. Master Daesung had taught Jin the basics a long time ago. But Jin didn't respect him anymore. He had called Master Daesung old and slow. Jin's smile got even bigger. I see the old guys are still alive, he shouted. But that's the problem with karate today. Too many old names. Too much talk about the past. Not enough real action. He walked along the edge of the ring like he was a big star on a stage. You all talk about honor and balance. But let's be real. That stuff doesn't sell tickets. The crowd got louder. You know what sells? Knockouts. Fighters who finish their fights. Fighters who are fast and strong, not old stories from old movies. Then he paused. The lights shone on his face. He smiled again. And speaking of old movies, whatever happened to Jason Statham? Some people in the crowd laughed. Some didn't like the joke. A few fans looked upset. Others just waited to see what would happen. The guy made a whole career out of pretending to fight. Jin said, grinning. He was a boxing champion in movies, sure, but not in real life. Even some of Jin's fans looked uncomfortable. But Jin didn't stop. Hey Statham, he shouted to the camera. If you're watching from your big fancy house or your gym, no hard feelings, okay? But let's be honest. The world has moved on. Real fighting doesn't have slow motion scenes and sad music. He raised his arms high. I fight in real time. No scripts. No retakes. Just the truth. In the VIP seats, Master Daesung didn't move. But his shoulders got tight. The boy he had trained had turned into someone completely different. Then Ray-Jean looked straight into the cameras. So here's the deal. If the legend himself wants to step into a ring with a Real fighter, I'm right here. I'll even go easy on you, champ. Some people laughed. Some looked nervous. The air started to feel weird. Then, something happened. A hush. The noise in the crowd didn't stop all at once. It moved slowly, like wind blowing through tall grass. Heads turned. People looked toward the back entrance. There, under the balcony lights, stood a man. He had no bodyguards, no team. He just stood there, still, strong, quiet. It was Jason Statham. He wore a black track jacket, black boxing shoes. His face was older, but serious. Ray-Jean stopped smiling. He squinted, trying to see through the lights. Was it really him? The cameras zoomed in. The crowd gasped. The announcer, Shun, could barely speak. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not wrong, that's Jason Statham. The crowd got very quiet. Then everything went still. Ray-Jean blinked. No way, he said. But his microphone picked it up. Everyone heard it. Statham didn't move. He didn't wave. He didn't say a word. He just looked at Ray-Jean. A quiet look. Like a mountain deciding whether it should cast its shadow. Kaya, Ray-Jean's manager, ran to the ring. She waved her hands. She wanted the show to stop. This wasn't part of the plan. But Ray-Jean held onto the microphone. He wasn't ready to stop. He puffed out his chest and laughed louder. If that's really you, Sly. I'm honored, he said. I watched all your movies growing up. I liked the whole underdog thing. But come on. This is 2025. And you? You're still stuck in round 2. Statham took one step forward. Not fast. Not big. Just one slow step. But the whole room felt it. The crowd held its breath. Ray-Jean moved back to the middle of the ring. He tried to smile. He wanted to make it feel like a joke again. Come on, man. You're not really gonna fight me, are you? Statham didn't answer. He just kept walking. The feeling in the room changed. It was like something big was coming. Bigger than anything the crowd had ever seen. The lights hit Statham's face. People snapped photos, but they weren't cheering. They were stunned. Statham moved like someone who didn't need to prove anything. He didn't walk fast. He didn't ask for claps. He was just real. His face showed all the years he had lived. The cuts. The bruises. The time. The strength. He had been knocked down. And he had gotten back up. Over and over again. He reached the steps to the ring. Nobody stopped him. Even the security guards looked frozen. Shun, the announcer, spoke very quietly now. For those just tuning in, this is not a show. This is real. That is Jason Statham, 2-time world boxing champion. The man who inspired a generation. And he's walking toward the ring. Ray-Jean started to look scared. Not of a fight, but of the silence. The power in the room wasn't with him anymore. He looked around. He hoped someone would say something funny. Make it feel like a show again. But all he saw was Kaya, his manager. She stood by the ring, eyes wide. Her face was full of worry. She tried to say something, but he couldn't hear her. For the first time that night, Ray-Jean felt cold. Statham stepped up onto the ring. One hand on the ropes. Not in a hurry. Not dramatic. Just sure. Ray-Jean stepped back. He laughed, but it didn't sound like a happy laugh. Mr. Statham, hey listen, he said. This was just a joke. You know, crowd stuff. Not personal. We're all just performers, right? Statham stood on the edge of the ring. He looked at Ray-Jean. No anger. No hate. No smile. Just calm. Like someone who had seen it all. Ray-Jean, who was usually the loudest person in any room. Now I can't speak. The air around him felt thin. His words were gone. And the story? I was just getting started. Statham looked at Kaya. Kaya quickly ran to him. Mr. Statham, please, she said softly. You don't need to do this. She kept her voice low and gentle. He's just a kid. He's being silly. He only wanted people to click on the video. He didn't really mean it. This isn't a real fight. Statham nodded slowly. I know, he said. His voice was deep, but not loud like in the movies. It was calm and quiet, like someone who knew exactly what he was doing. But, Statham said, when someone says they want to fight, sometimes it's better to answer than walk away. Shun, the announcer, spoke in a low voice. Everyone, this might not be a fight. This might be a lesson. Ray Jean, the young fighter, tried to stop it. Hey, no disrespect, he said. You're a legend, really. But this is real life, not a movie. Statham didn't stop. He stepped into the ring. No warm-up. No team. No music. Just an old man in his 80s, walking into the ring to face a strong young fighter. I know what this is, Statham said quietly. It's not a show. It's your big moment. I'm here to see what you'll do with it. The whole arena went quiet. Nobody cheered. Even the big TV screens didn't know what to show. The people running the cameras didn't know what to do. Was this a part of the event? Or a mistake? Kaya pulled Ray Jean toward his corner. This is going too far, she said. Make peace. Shake hands. Smile for a photo. Save your pride. Save the sponsors. Ray Jean felt angry. He wants a fight? Fine, he said. I'll give him a show. Statham walked to the middle of the ring. He didn't jump around. He didn't raise his fists like a boxer. He just stood there, one hand by his side, calm. I heard what you said, Statham said. About old boxers. About the past. About how legends get soft. He looked Ray Jean in the eyes. So here I am. You get 5 minutes. Light hits only. Show me how fighting has changed. The referee looked around. He didn't know what to do. Should he stop it? Should he let it happen? No one gave him an answer. Ray Jean laughed loudly. 5 minutes? Fine. I'll try not to break anything. Statham nodded. That's good, he said, because sometimes what breaks isn't bones. In the announcer's booth, Shun whispered. This is no longer just a fight. This is a battle between old and new, between quiet strength and loud power. The referee stepped in carefully. Exhibition match. 5 minutes. Light contact. Do both fighters agree? Statham nodded. Ray Jean shrugged. Sure. The bell was about to ring. Everyone in the crowd was on edge. This didn't feel like fun anymore. It felt real. There were no gloves. No mouth guards. Just two people in a ring, skin, bone, pride, and truth. And Ray Jean, even with all his confidence, had a new thought in his head. What if this old man didn't come to win, but to teach? Ding. The bell rang. Not loud. Not exciting. Just a sound that said, this is really happening. Ray Jean moved first. He circled left. He bounced on his feet like he always did. He held his hands wide and high. He smiled at the crowd. This was his show. But the crowd didn't cheer. They didn't laugh. They just watched. Statham stood still. His stance was small and quiet. No dancing. No showing off. Just standing, calm and still, like a tree that doesn't move in the wind. His eyes followed Ray Jean, slow and steady. He didn't look nervous. He didn't look excited. He just looked ready. Ray Jean called out, "Come on, old man. Show me one of those famous punches." Statham didn't move. His hands were up. His chin was down. His elbows close to his body. A classic old-school stance. Simple and strong. Ray Jean moved side to side. Then he tried a fast front kick. Statham didn't jump. He didn't run. He just moved a tiny bit to the side, and the kick missed. The crowd let out a breath. Ray Jean looked surprised. He tried again. This time, a spinning back kick, flashy and strong. Statham didn't even blink. He moved his shoulders just enough to make it miss. No punch back. No waste. Just perfect timing. Ray Jean frowned. That kick should have landed. He tried his big combo, Jab, cross, roundhouse kick. Fast and smooth. Statham blocked the jab, rolled the punch off his shoulder, moved his head just enough to dodge the kick. It was like a dance. But Statham didn't look like he was dancing. He looked like he was remembering something he'd done many, many times before. Shun's voice came through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about speed. It's about timing. It's about knowing. Ray-Jean heard it too. It stung. He attacked again. Flying knee. Spinning elbow. Back kick. All strong. All quick. But Statham waited. And at the last moment, he stepped aside. Ray-Jean missed. Again. Statham reached out and tapped Ray-Jean's shoulder. A light touch. A soft tap. "I'm here," it said. "I could have hit you. I didn't." The crowd was silent again. Not from boredom, from awe. They were watching something more than a fight. Ray-Jean turned, his face red. "Stop playing with me," he shouted. "Fight for real." Statham tilted his head, just a little. "Is that what you want?" he asked. Ray-Jean paused, then nodded. "Show me what made you a champion." Statham nodded back. "As you wish." And then, something changed. Statham stepped in. Not fast, but at the perfect time. Ray-Jean jabbed. Statham didn't block it. He moved just right and used Ray-Jean's own speed to pull him off balance. Before Ray-Jean could fix his stance, Statham punched, once, straight to the chest. It wasn't a hard punch, but it was right in the center, sharp and clean. Ray-Jean stumbled backward, more shocked than hurt. He gritted his teeth. "Lucky shot," he said. But his voice wasn't so sure anymore. He attacked again. High kick, spin, back fist. Statham's defense was quiet and clean. He didn't flinch. He didn't jump. He just moved, at the right angle, at the right time. Every move Ray-Jean made was missed, dodged, gently pushed away. And Ray-Jean began to feel something he hadn't felt in a long time, doubt. He wasn't slower. He wasn't weaker. But nothing worked. He kicked again, punched harder, moved faster. Statham waited. Then, one step forward. A side punch to the ribs. Not hard, but placed perfectly. Ray-Jean gasped. His breath left his lungs. His body bent. He stepped back, eyes wide. And in that moment, he understood. Statham wasn't trying to beat him. He was showing him how much he still had to learn. And that hurt more than a punch. Ray-Jean looked at Kaya. She stood still. Her face said everything. This wasn't going to be the cool moment they wanted. It was going to be remembered for a different reason. There was 1 minute left. Ray-Jean stood still. He didn't bounce. He didn't smile. He pulled his hands close. Made his stance tighter. Like his first teacher, Master Daesung, had taught him long ago. Not for show. For truth. Statham saw it. And nodded. The last minute began. Ray-Jean didn't do tricks. He punched with purpose. Kicked with control. Statham responded with respect. They moved not like enemies, but like artists. The crowd felt it. The silence wasn't scary anymore. It was peaceful. Like everyone was watching something special. When the bell rang, both fighters stood still. No one had won. But something had changed. Ray-Jean breathed hard. Not because he was tired. Because he had learned something. He looked at Statham. Statham looked back. No words. Just a nod. A nod that said, "Now you understand." Statham stayed calm and still. When he bowed, Ray-Jean didn't wait. He bowed too, but even deeper and slower. It was not the kind of bow people do for cameras. It was a bow you give to someone who just reminded you who you could be, if you were brave enough to begin again. It wasn't the punch that made Ray-Jean hurt. It was what the punch meant. Backstage, the lights felt too bright. The sound of the crowd was still loud behind the walls, but Ray-Jean wasn't listening anymore. He sat on a bench with a towel over his shoulders. His chest moved up and down, not because of the short fight, but because of something deeper inside. Across the room, Kaya walked back and forth. Her phone kept buzzing with messages. Sponsors and bosses were asking, what just happened? She didn't answer them. We can fix this, she said finally, not looking at Ray-Jean. We'll say it was a respectful moment. A tribute. A way to show honor. Not a real challenge. Ray-Jean didn't say anything. He stared at the floor. The microphone had picked up everything he said during the fight. Every mean word. Every smirk. But Statham didn't make fun of him. That would have been easier. Instead, Statham showed him something Ray-Jean couldn't forget. There was a big empty space under all of Ray-Jean's fast moves. Like he was standing on air. Then the door opened. Everyone got quiet. Master Daesung walked in. He walked slowly and straight. He looked older than Ray-Jean remembered. But somehow, stronger too. He didn't say hello to Kaya. He didn't speak. He walked right up to Ray-Jean and stood in front of him. He waited. Ray-Jean looked up. They didn't talk at first. Then Master Daesung finally spoke. You started something. Now you must finish it. Ray-Jean's throat felt tight. What does that even mean? He asked. His voice wasn't proud anymore. Just confused. I lost, right? Or whatever that was. It's over. Master Daesung shook his head. No. That was a lesson. But not the end. He turned toward the hallway. He's still here. He's waiting. Ray-Jean blinked. Statham, he said. Master Daesung nodded. He didn't come to make you look bad. He came to see if you were ready for the next step. Kaya jumped in. She sounded worried. Wait a second, there are rules and safety stuff. This was already a mess. A second fight is crazy. But Master Daesung didn't move. This fight isn't for the cameras. Not for fans. It's for him. And only he can decide what comes next. Ray-Jean stood up, slowly. What would I even say to him? Master Daesung looked at him kindly. Tell the truth. For once. Ray-Jean stood there for a moment, thinking. Then he walked toward the hallway. It was so quiet, the silence felt heavy. The cheers from the arena felt far away now. Not important. He passed by equipment cases, wires, and water bottles. At the end of the hallway, Statham was standing alone. No cameras. Just him. His eyes were closed. He leaned against the wall, breathing quietly. Ray-Jean stopped. Mr. Statham, he said softly. The older man opened his eyes. He didn't look mad. Or surprised. Just calm. I don't know what to say, Ray-Jean said. Statham waited. Ray-Jean looked at the ground. I thought I was the future. Fast. Precise. Efficient. But I watched myself swing at nothing for 5 minutes. And I realized. I don't even know what I'm missing. Statham walked forward. He didn't speak right away. He just stood there. Strong and peaceful. Then he said, slowly. You have the tools. But you built the wrong house. Ray-Jean took a deep breath. I want to fix it, he said. But not for the cameras. I need to know. Statham nodded. Then let's find out. A real match. Ray-Jean's eyes got big. You're serious? Statham didn't smile. Didn't joke. He just said, you want to know who you really are in a real fight? Then meet me in the ring. Kaya's voice echoed from behind. Ray-Jean, don't. You don't owe him anything. He looked at her. No. I owe myself. She looked at Statham. Then back to Ray-Jean. She saw there was nothing she could say to stop him now. A few minutes later, the two men were back in the arena. But this time, it wasn't a show. No funny moves. No music. Just two fighters, stepping into something deeper. The director shouted, no. We can't do this. But then Master Daesung stepped into the ring. I will be the referee, he said. This is not your show anymore. This is about martial arts. The crowd whispered. They didn't know what they were seeing. Shun Takeda, the announcer, spoke into the mic. We are seeing something we didn't expect. A second fight. A real one. Not planned. Not staged. But maybe needed. Ray-Jean looked at Statham. The older man didn't stretch, didn't dance around. He just stood still, balanced. Ray-Jean looked at Kaya one more time. She didn't smile. But she didn't stop him either. He turned to Master Daesung. "I'm ready." The old master gave a strong nod. This wasn't about pride anymore. Not about proving he was better. It was about learning. There was no music. No bright lights. Just two men in a quiet ring. The crowd didn't shout. They just watched. Ray-Jean fixed his gloves. He didn't look at the cameras. He breathed slowly, but something in his chest felt heavy. Across from him, Statham stood calm. His arms are loose. His eyes are steady. He didn't look scary. He looked like a question. A question only movement could answer. Master Daesung stood between them. He didn't need a mic. This is a 5-minute match. Full contact. Traditional rules. You win by knockout, submission, or decision. Honor above all. He looked at them both. His eyes stayed a little longer on Ray-Jean. "Are you ready?" Ray-Jean nodded once. "Yes." Statham gave a small nod. Just a breath in and a dip of his head. "Begin." The bell rang, and the arena went silent. So quiet, every footstep echoed. Ray-Jean didn't run in. Not this time. He walked forward with careful steps. Not jumping around like before. He held his guard tight. His feet moved small, but strong. Statham stayed calm too. He didn't move much. Just watched. Ray-Jean tried a quick jab. Statham leaned his head just a little and missed it. Ray-Jean kicked low. Statham blocked it, moved to the side, and hit back with a quick punch to the ribs. It didn't hurt a lot, but it meant something. It said, "I'm still here." Ray-Jean felt it. His eyes got serious. He had come to fight. And Statham had accepted. What happened next didn't feel like a fight. It felt like a conversation, but made with fists and feet. Ray-Jean's moves were fast. Jab, punch, spinning kick. Statham answered with angles. He didn't try to hit harder. He just moved smarter. When Ray-Jean rushed in with a bunch of punches, Statham stepped close, held him for a moment, then pushed away with perfect space. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't have to. They were watching something special. Two kinds of strength. Different, but equal. 2 minutes in, Ray-Jean found a rhythm. His hits got better. He landed a good kick to Statham's side, then punched his shoulder. Statham gave the tiniest nod, as if to say, "Now you're here." Then Statham showed his own depth. He waited for a tiny change in Ray-Jean's balance, and hit him with a jab that made him stop. Then a hook that pushed him back. They moved in silence again. Ray-Jean breathed through his nose. His heart beat loud in his ears. He wasn't just fighting Statham. He was fighting himself. The version of him that thought looking cool was enough. That believed fancy moves could replace hard work. That version was losing. Statham didn't chase him. He didn't try to win fast. But when he moved, it was always on purpose. A straight punch hit through Ray-Jean's guard. Then a punch to the body. Ray-Jean gasped. It hurt. But it also helped him see. He respected Statham not because he used to be great, but because he still was. 3 minutes in, Ray-Jean's back was wet with sweat. His lungs burned. Not from being tired. From focus. His eyes locked onto Statham's. They moved again. Punch, block, kick, counter. Ray-Jean started to understand something. Statham didn't waste anything. Not a step. Not a punch. Everything mattered. Statham wasn't just fighting. He was listening. And now, he was making Ray-Jean listen too. In the 4th minute, Ray-Jean saw his moment. He faked a move to the right, then kicked high from the left. It hit. Not super hard, but just enough to shake Statham's balance. The whole crowd gasped together. Statham took a step back. He stood still, then gave a small nod. Ray-Jean didn't cheer. He didn't smile. He walked forward, feeling the moment. Statham threw some punches, a left, a right, then one to the belly. They weren't just to hurt. They were to test Ray-Jean's heart. Ray-Jean took the hits. He wasn't winning, but he didn't quit. He was learning with every second. The last minute felt like the end of a big story. They moved slower, but smarter. It wasn't just a fight anymore. It felt like a dance, like something special. With 30 seconds left, Statham threw a big hook. Ray-Jean blocked it and spun with his special elbow move. Statham ducked, stepped aside, and gently tapped Ray-Jean's shoulder. It was just like a moment from their very first fight. Ray-Jean stopped, then smiled. A real smile. No cameras. No show. Just understanding. The bell rang. But it didn't feel like the end. It felt like a deep breath. The crowd didn't cheer. They clapped slowly, with respect. It felt stronger than winning. Master Daesung walked between them. He didn't raise a hand to say who won. He bowed deeply. Both fighters bowed back. There was no trophy. No news. Just two fighters who gave it their all. And left the ring as better people. Statham walked away quietly, just like he came. Ray-Jean stayed for a moment, watching. The man he once laughed at had become the one who reminded him what true martial arts really means. The proud fighter Ray-Jean used to be had now felt something even stronger. Humbleness, born from hard moments. The next morning, no one clapped. No newspapers shouted his name. No videos were going viral. It was quiet, like the sun waking up. Ray-Jean stood outside an old door. It was the dojo, the place where he first learned. No bright lights. No signs. No cameras. Just a wooden door and silence. He held his phone. It was buzzing. Messages, brands, interviews. He turned it off and put it away. Then he bowed and walked in. Inside, it smelled like old wood and hard work. A few students were practicing simple moves. They weren't perfect, but they were trying. Master Daesung was helping them. Not yelling. Just giving calm advice. He saw Ray-Jean, but didn't say anything. No welcome. No big deal. Ray-Jean took off his shoes, put his bag down, and stepped onto the floor. No one gasped. No one clapped. He stood at the back. Not as a star. Not as a hero. Just a student. They started with basics. Low stances, slow punches. Kicks that had to be held until their legs shook. Ray-Jean started breathing heavily. His muscles were not used to this kind of stillness. He felt tired. He felt his pride. No one stared. No one cared who he was. They were there for the same reason. To learn something new. After an hour, the others left. Ray-Jean stayed behind. Only then did Master Daesung walk over. "You came back," he said, like Ray-Jean had never left. Ray-Jean bowed. "I want to start over," he said. "Not just the moves. The reason for them." Master Daesung nodded. "Then you begin like all students do. With quiet, with practice, no shortcuts." Ray-Jean looked into his eyes. "I'm ready." And this time, he truly meant it. Later, he was cleaning the floor, when there was a knock on the door. Kaya walked in, holding a phone. "They're all asking where you are," she said. "TV people, sponsors, big companies." Ray-Jean looked up from the floor. "Tell them I'm training." She looked around. No cameras. No mirrors. Just wood and sweat. "They won't like that answer," she said. He stood up slowly. "Then they're asking the wrong question." She looked at him for a long time, then nodded. "Okay." Then she gave him a small box. No name on it. No return address. Inside was a pair of old black gloves. He turned them over. Inside was a little note written in pen. "Use them right this time." 3 weeks later, the crowd cheered again. But this time, not in Seoul. Not for a big show. This was a small tournament. The lights were soft. The people were close. No music. No hype videos. When they called Ray-Jean Han to the ring, he walked out alone. No team. No cameras. Just a plain uniform, black belt tight. The announcer said his name. No big voice. No talk about his past. And Ray-Jean liked it that way. Across the ring was Riku Onizuka. He was young, flashy, and loud. He pointed at Ray-Jean and made a mean gesture. "The old man broke you," he shouted. "You're just a video clip now." Ray-Jean didn't reply. He bowed low. A clean, respectful bow. The kind his teacher taught him. The bell rang. Riku jumped in with a flying kick. It looked cool, but it wasn't smart. Before, Ray-Jean might have done something flashy too. Now, he just stepped to the side. No yelling. No spinning. Just simple moves. Riku missed. Ray-Jean hit him with a soft punch to the ribs. Just enough. Riku tried again, fast and wild. But Ray-Jean moved calmly. He blocked, dodged, and stayed balanced. The crowd stopped waiting for big moves. They started watching the little things. The timing, the steps, the control. Ray-Jean wasn't trying to win big. He was listening with his body. In the second round, Riku got more angry and wild. But Ray-Jean stayed steady. Then, Ray-Jean stepped in at the right time. And landed a perfect punch. Not to knock him out, just clean and clear. Riku fell a little. The referee stopped the match. It was over. Ray-Jean didn't cheer. He didn't jump. He bowed, to his opponent, to the ref, to the ring. Riku sat up, holding his side. Ray-Jean walked over and offered his hand. Riku looked surprised, but took it. The cameras caught the moment. Not a big win, just respect. Backstage, Kaya waited. Her arms were crossed, but she looked calm. "The TV people wanted something flashier," she said. Ray-Jean nodded. "They'll be okay." She looked at him. "And you?" He looked at his gloves, the black ones from Statham. "I'm starting to understand what I missed." She smiled a little. "Maybe that's what people really want to see." Ray-Jean smiled too. "If not, I'm okay with fewer people watching." Later that night, far away, Jason Statham sat in a quiet room. He watched the match on a small screen. No noise. No talking. Just the fight. When it ended, and Ray-Jean bowed, Statham leaned back in his chair. He didn't smile big, just a little. Then he whispered 3 soft words. "That'll do, kid." Did you enjoy the story? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below.